Welcome back to Jordan Talks Smashville with your host, Jordan Manning. We're going to be going over some of the Nashville Predators news that you may have missed from the past week. Jonathan Marchessault is frustrated with Andrew Brunette's abilities behind the bench, a potential reunion between Peter Lafayette and the Predators, and then finally, an extension of a Predators defenseman. So let's get started with the biggest one, which is Jonathan Marchessault is getting frustrated with Brunette. In an article written by Alex Daughtry on the Tennessean, it was reported that Marchessault, or star forward Jonathan Marchessault, is getting quite frustrated and is criticizing Andrew Brunette's abilities, behind the bench and like what he's been doing with the team. Trotz brought in, him, Stamkos, and Brady Shea to hopefully help boost the Predators' offense with Forsberg and Josi, but as we all know, things haven't been going that way, and our offense is actually the second worst in the league, just ahead of the Sharks. And it's kind of surprising because Brunette is mainly known for his offensive abilities and his coaching style, as shown with Florida and the Panthers in the President's Trophy run a couple years ago. You had players like Tkachuk and Barkov playing out of their minds and scoring left and right. But it's just unbelievable how someone like Brunette, is struggling with like these offensive problems. And having Marchessault there, should help you. But him shaking up the lines consistently, and reportedly he's actually been focused more on defense this season. So that's probably a reason why offense hasn't really been a thing. And as a result, it's kind of taken a toll on the team, and especially Marchessault. It's just kind of crazy. So let's just kind of hope, this has like a happy ending to it, and we see some more offense next season from Marchessault and the guys. All right, so let's move on to a crazy headline that was actually circulating. The New York Rangers fired head coach Peter Lafayette after missing the playoffs post their President's Trophy run just last season. I wrote an article for Fansided Predlines about a potential reunion between Peter Lafayette and the Predators in the near future. Lafayette was the Predators coach about 5-6 seasons ago, and he helped them take on their Cinderella run in the 2017 Stanley Cup playoffs, where the Predators went to the finals but ended up losing in Game 6 against the Penguins. He also led them to a President's Trophy just the year following that incredible run. I really like what Lafayette did for the team during that time period. We went from missing the playoffs two seasons in a row, heading straight into the playoffs and wiping out top-seeded teams like the Chicago Blackhawks, who were top in the Western Conference, sweeping them in the first round in 2017. If Lafayette can bring that offense back to this team, I feel like we got a very good future ahead of us. And if we were having someone like Brunette out of the bench and placing someone like Lafayette, as long as he can give the rookies and the young players like Evangelista, Svechnikov, maybe even Matthew Wood and Ryan Ufko in the future, we should have a very solid team with him behind the bench. Alright, so now for the final piece of news about your Predators. We actually got an extension of Andreas Englund for 1 year worth $775K per season. He was claimed off of waivers from the LA Kings, and he's a defenseman, of course. With his 24 games, he registered 36 penalty minutes and 58 hits. He's a big fighter. He's kind of like a Jeannot, and he's more like a Mark Borieski type of player. And he actually took the gloves to Matt Rempe and Barclay Goodrow in his recent games. I honestly see this as like a questionable move because we're kind of packed on defensemen right now, especially with we have Josi and Brady Shea, of course, and we have recently acquired Justin Barron, and we have, the young guys, Spencer Stastny, Mark Del Gazio, and Ryan Ufko, who potentially could be a pretty good, defenseman in the future for the Preds. I don't really... Okay, I see what Trotz is doing by, bringing back, these strong defensemen. But we should really start thinking about the future. And I think eventually Trotz should try to, trade away some of these defensemen. Especially players like... I love Justin Barron, but I feel like he could be a pretty good asset in the future. Especially since we got him for free. Or basically for free, because we traded away Alex Carrier. But I really see this as a double-edged sword. We got, a good defensive defenseman who can, drop the gloves, like big hits, but we're also taking up the spot of a, potential prospect coming in the lineup in the future, like Ryan Ufko. So we're just gonna have to see how this goes. All right, well that's all for this week's recap of your Nashville Predators. Um, you know, Check out episode 1 if you forgot what happened the week before. And even check out my links in NHL Trade Talk and Pred Lines. Check out my Twitter for the latest Predators news. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I really hope you consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next week's recap. Peace.